My name is Maria Alvarez, and for 10 years, I worked as a housekeeper for the Weston family. They lived in a mansion so vast it felt like a museum more than a home. Marble floors that echoed beneath your feet, chandeliers that shimmered like icicles, and a kitchen that could have easily fit my entire childhood apartment. I scrubbed those endless floors, cooked meals that were devoured without thanks, and tucked their children into bed when their parents were too busy attending galas, business dinners, or jetting off to weekend getaways that I never complained. I was thankful for the job. I sent money home to my sister every month, helped pay for my niece's school books, and even saved enough to send my mother new walking shoes. But in that decade of service, there were countless moments where I questioned if the Westons even saw me as a human being or just another part of the furniture. Useful, silent, replaceable. One Thursday morning, as I was sorting linens on the second floor, my phone buzzed with a call from my sister Elena. Her voice cracked the moment I answered. "Mar, it's Mama. She's gone." The phone slipped from my hand, clattering onto the polished floor. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred. My mother, who had raised us alone after my father died in a factory fire, who worked 2 jobs so we could eat, who never once bought herself anything new just so we could have what we needed, was gone. Just like that. I hadn't even said goodbye. I wiped my face, took a few shaky breaths, and walked down the hallway to Mrs. Weston's room. She sat at her vanity, dabbing lipstick on her lips with the same detached elegance she wore every day, like the world revolved in perfect harmony around her reflection. "Ma'am," I said, my voice trembling. "I need to go home. My mother, she passed away. I just need 1 week. I'll come back right after." She didn't even look at me. "Maria, the winter gala is next weekend. You know how important that is. We need the house perfect." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Please, just 1 week. I'll make up the time." Just then, Mr. Weston entered, adjusting his cufflinks, expression as unreadable as ever. "Maria," he said, not unkindly but not gently either, "we'll give you a bonus for staying. But we really can't have you leave now. Not with the gala." My fists clenched at my sides. My mother's face swam in my mind. The last time she hugged me at the bus stop, her eyes tired but proud. I hadn't seen her in nearly 2 years. "I quit," I said, barely above a whisper. Their heads snapped toward me. "What?" Mrs. Weston's voice was sharp. "I said I quit." I repeated louder, firmer. "No amount of money is worth missing my mother's funeral." I turned and walked away. I didn't wait to hear them try to stop me or watch them scramble for another solution. I packed my things, each folded shirt a silent goodbye to a life I'd allowed to stretch too long. And I left a week later. The morning of Mama's funeral, the skies above our coastal town in the Philippines were heavy with rain, mourning alongside us. The white church where I had been baptized, with its peeling paint and rusted bells, overflowed with neighbors, cousins, old friends. My mother's coffin sat at the front, surrounded by bouquets of Sagittaria, her favorite flowered, as they lowered her into the ground. I clutched a small, weather-worn photo of her laughing, taken during my last visit home. Rain and tears blurred the image. "I'm sorry, Mama," I whispered. "I should have been there sooner." My aunts pulled me into their arms. "Anak," Auntie Lourdes said, stroking my hair gently. "She knew you loved her. That's all she ever needed. But guilt is stubborn. It settled in my chest like a stone. Even when I flew back to the city, it stayed. My small apartment, once a haven after 12-hour shifts, now felt hollow. I stared at my phone every night, half expecting Mama's evening calls. Silence echoed louder than any words. 3 days later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was my friend Marisol. "Maria," she said, her voice urgent. "Turn on channel 5. Right now." Confused, I grabbed the remote and flicked on the TV. The headline at the bottom of the screen hit me like a thunderclap. Exclusive: Billionaire Family's Cruel Treatment of Housekeeper Sparks National Outrage. Footage played. Audio recorded from the hallway camera. Mrs. Weston's cold voice. Mr. Weston's dismissive tone. My chokeback sobs. The news anchor's voice was tight with disgust. "Sources say the housekeeper of 10 years, Maria Alvarez, was denied time off to bury her mother. The conversation, unintentionally recorded, has ignited a firestorm online. My heart thudded as a shaky video followed. The Westons, shielding their faces behind sunglasses, rushed through a swarm of reporters. Mr. Weston, do you regret your decision? Mrs. Weston, do you have any comment on the viral recording? Her answer was sharp. This is a private matter. Before slamming the car door, I stared at the screen, dazed. For a decade, I'd been invisible. A ghost who kept their secrets, their house, their children. Now, in 1 week, everything had changed. Because they underestimated the voice of a grieving daughter. The irony tasted bitter. All I wanted was a single week to bury the woman who gave me life. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. A few weeks later, I started a new job. This time, it wasn't in a mansion with staff buzzing around. The Garcia family lived in a modest 2-story home in the suburbs. The kitchen was always warm with the smell of cinnamon, coffee, and something baking in the oven. Mr. Garcia was a high school teacher. Mrs. Garcia worked at a small legal clinic. They didn't have drivers or chefs, just me. And yet, every morning, Mrs. Garcia greeted me at the door with a genuine, "Good morning, Maria. How did you sleep?" When I served dinner, Mr. Garcia looked me in the eye and said, "This is amazing. Thank you." Their daughter, little Sophia, ran to hug me every night before bed, arms squeezing tightly around my waist, whispering, "Good night, Miss Maria." At first, their kindness confused me. I'd grown so used to being ignored that I flinched at attention. But slowly, I began to breathe again. I began to feel point. One evening, as I folded laundry in their living room, Mrs. Garcia sat beside me. "Maria," she said softly, "I saw what happened on the news. I just want you to know, you'll always have time off here. No questions asked. Family always comes first." I couldn't hold back the tears. She didn't ask why. She just reached over and held my hand. That night, I sat by the small altar in my bedroom, the framed photo of Mama resting between candles. I held it gently, tracing her smile with my thumb. "I found a place where they see me, Mama," I whispered. "I hope you're proud." As for the Westons, last I heard, their winter gala was a disaster. The sponsors pulled out. Guests canceled. Their charity board asked them to step down. And the news dragged their name through the mud for weeks that I didn't celebrate their downfall. That's not who I am. But I did sleep easier, knowing the world had seen them for who they were. That the truth had found its way out. Because the truth never disappears. It waits. Quiet. Steady. And then, when the moment is right, it speaks.